Good afternoon. Welcome to Lighting Up Your Friday with the 5 Stars of Strengthening Families. I'm Penny and this is Kim from FCSS. And we are back once again to talk about how you can strengthen your family from the inside out. Today we're moving on from communication to knowledge, the knowledge portion. So that is knowledge of parenting and child development. And we will be doing a four-part series on this topic. So first, I'm going to check in from our challenge from last week. Last week, we talked about how you deal with your teen, or what do you think about your teen or emerging adults representing your family to the world, or and how you deal with those times when they're doing that, and they may be doing it in a way that you might not do it yourself that way. So our challenge was to sort of notice your own responses, right? We talked a little bit about feeling embarrassed or fearful, or we even got into a little bit of, talk about, being a good parent or looking like a good parent, or what are other people thinking? So hopefully you had an opportunity to sort of notice how that was going for you. Yeah. So now I'm going to pass it to Kim, and she's going to get you started with our first question.
All right. So our question for this week's topic of knowledge is, how do you break through the teen shell? So breaking through the teen shell, Penny, what are some of the ways that you think to help sort of break down that shell that they have? Sometimes, some of them have.
Yeah, and I love this question because this is something I hear a lot from parents, and as a parent myself of an emerging adult, looking for that coming. I mean, not there yet, but so when I think about the shell, I think about it kind of like a turtle. So it's like the shell is there as a protection of some kind. So for me, I need to be safe, right? Or Brene Brown talks about armoring up, right? When do we armor up? It's when we don't feel safe. And so how do I provide that environment to my teen or emerging adult where they feel safe to be without their shell? And understanding that sometimes they need that shell. And those are the times when I need to respect their privacy, and also walking that tricky tightrope of what is too withdrawn and what is appropriate withdrawn, right? So yeah. So what do I do? What would I do? What will I do? Again, I will try to listen without an agenda, and right now, getting engaged in what they're interested in, even if it's not something I find funny, or I can say, yeah, that's not really my thing, but I can see why you think it's funny, or things like allowing them that separation, or what did you call it? Individuation, right? That knowing that this is a time they're trying to find who they are separate from their role in the family, right? And so just really being a part of listening and not bringing your own agenda into your time with them when they're sharing who they're becoming, and understanding that these thoughts and feelings can be very fleeting. That because today they want to be a heavy metal drummer, that might not be tomorrow. Right? They're trying on all these different things to see what fits. And I know we've talked about before about how that can shape their choices if you get too involved, right? Yeah, what else? And in older teens especially, your influence is your greatest teaching tool. So they've reached a point where you have done what you can, imparting your morals and your values, and your best foot forward is to show them, and you know, the lecturing and the preaching and those kinds of things maybe aren't as effective as just modeling. Yeah. How about you, Kim?
Yeah, I agree with all of the above. I want to touch on a little bit on the connecting when you walk in the room. And I would say after every separation, there should be some sort of a connection. It just really goes a long way in, in making them feel significant, excuse me, and like they matter and like you're interested, you know, in what they've got going on. So connecting after every separation, whether it's a physical separation, they've been at school or they've been, you know, somewhere, just even going, you know, down and doing an errand and coming back. If you think about our dogs, they do this so beautifully. And doesn't matter if we've gone to run to town to get an errand or if we've been gone to work all day, the same, they connect with us the same every time we come back in the house. And that's what we're talking about here. Lighting up, you know, in their presence, letting them know we're, you know, happy to see them. We do this with complete strangers all the time. We don't do it as well with the people in our own household and the people that we love. And it's really an important piece because it helps us all to feel like we matter and significant, which are really good ways to connect with our kids. Also, it's important to do after an emotional separation. So if there's been some sort of discipline that we've had to, you know, step in and up, you know, lay down the law or whatever the case may be, or, you know, whether maybe it's been a consequence that we've had to do, this is, you know, the way it is. And, you know, it's really important to do that. And actually, I think even during the discipline, we've had to say, the rule is, you know, but we if we can connect and let them know we still care, we still love them. This is just because the rule has been broken and there are consequences. And, you know, that's matter of fact. It's got nothing to do with, if we can convey that it's got nothing to do with them as a as a human being, that will help to keep the connection as well. So connect after every separation, and whether it's physical or emotional. For me, that's a pretty big thing. How do you break through the teen shell? The other thing that comes to mind with that is, like I was thinking of Brene Brown too when you said that really resonated with me as well. Those defenses are up for a reason because it's too vulnerable sometimes to talk about things, you know. So we wouldn't go in too direct, you know. So they come home from school and they're a little bit, you know, quieter than normal or something like that. You know, it's difficult because we want to ask the questions, you know, what's wrong, what's going on, like, you know, but sometimes they are not sometimes that too many questions can shut them down too. So just this balance of more like the whole I see you, you know, hey, I missed you today, it was great to see you, or something like that, so you can connect rather than getting in there right away and asking questions, if that makes sense. And the questions shouldn't be too direct. You know, did that happen to you again today? You know, like, we don't want to go in because it's too vulnerable. That defense is up for a reason. And so the way to bring that down is actually just connecting. That's why I love that connect. Just show them that you're there, and the opportunities to talk will sort of come out. If you have anything that you can play, like excuse me, like emotional playgrounds, like going for a walk, being out in nature, throwing a ball, playing catch, those kind of things. That's where these conversations just sort of happen. They come out because why? Because the defenses are down, right? So if and then when those defenses come down, to honor that by not asking a whole bunch of questions. So I call it get in, get out. So you might say something and then change the subject, or don't ask another question. And because if you go too hard, if you come in hot, the defenses will come back up again. And then that shell will come back up. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. The soft startup, right?
Yes.
I notice you look really tired or sad
Yeah.
and then retreat. Yeah, I think that's excellent information because it's so true. Yeah. Yeah. So
And just being with them, the connecting piece is I think that's the big winner here for me is connect, because it's when you're able to connect in a way that's not too, even sitting side by side in a vehicle or something is less vulnerable than face to face. So making a meal together, these kind of things just happen, and then kind of letting them then not fixing it, not saying, well, how about you try this, or how about you just saying, oh man, probably didn't feel good. Hey, that's where you're going to make the progress.
yeah.
And it's actually more difficult than it is. Easier said than done, because often we want to fix it because we can see the solution, right? But then that's often where they'll shut down or put their shell back on, I guess. And you had an interesting point there also. Sorry, I just stole your words right there, but you had an interesting point, which was there's a balance between some sort of withdrawn or too withdrawn. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. If you're, there's some teens that are a little bit more quieter, a little bit, keeping things to themselves. But if there are signs of being too withdrawn, that's something that we need to investigate further. And take seriously, not just think, oh, that's just a teenager, a phase or something like that, right?
Right. Yeah. So for me, putting it out to parents, saying you're the expert of your teen, your children, your family. So withdrawal that seems unusual or extreme. I mean, like Kim said, that can look different. Some people are just more reticent, quieter personalities. However, if you're noticing a dramatic shift, like she said, investigate, because I think a lot of parents think that teenagers are supposed to be that way, maybe. That's normal behavior for them to be withdrawn. And to a certain extent it is. However, research says that they need you now more than ever, right? That it's still your job to connect and be that space for them to talk to you so that serious stuff can be resolved, because they still need you very much. And their emotions are kind of like a toddler's, and they're struggling it's very similar to toddlerhood, right? So lots of the stuff you did with your toddlers as far as emotion coaching and not trying to fix the problem and just sitting with them in there, that all applies. Different language perhaps, but it still all applies here. That's the same kind of stuff they need from you. And this ties nicely into next week's question, because we're going to talk more about how they're changing and some of those things.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that is it for today. So I guess summarizing, you want to connect, relationship. This is our drum, and we will continue to beat it, because it is so crucial now more than ever, to sort of start looking at them as their own person, not an extension of yourself. Start getting interested in what they're interested in, or at least researching and finding out, or being opening those opportunities, like Kim said. Go for a drive, play some catch, be that safe space. Yeah. And our challenge today is to, do that. Or choose one small thing.
Yeah.
So if you're having fractious relationships right now, maybe you want to try the just reconnecting after a separation, and all that can be is a look at them and smile, if that's what you can manage, or whatever you can manage with them. If it's a hug, if it's again, your person, so what they'll tolerate and won't tolerate. But acknowledging that they exist and they're important to you with a look or a gesture when you are coming back together after any kind of separation. So that's one small step you could choose.
Yes, and also as far as knowledge goes, there's also resources that are available to you. One of them being the Triple P for teens, parents of teens. So if you're if you finding that your teen is, you know, a little bit more, you're having some questions or some concerns or something like that, you can most certainly contact us and we can hook you up.
Yeah, go to the website and you'll be able to find contact information in your area for support with parenting your teen. So have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you here next week for our second part in the knowledge series. Take care and thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.